you ever have one of those franchises that you have been itching to talk about for a while? And technically you already did, but you can't find your original review, so you have to start from scratch? Yeah, that's this one. That's this franchise right here. Yes, I technically already reviewed all the John Wick movies, but, however, one, those reviews were not very good. And two, I never talked about the Continental. I never talked about the spin-off show. So, I thought it would be a great time to sit down, watch these awesome movies again, and tell you about how awesome that they are. Not only that, but also talk about the Continental and my thoughts on it. All leading up to the release of Ballerina, which is finally coming out after so many months and I think 2 years plus of teasing and setbacks and a bunch of other stuff. But that's for another time. For now, let's just focus on the one badass movie we have to talk about today. John freaking Wick. So, welcome back to Animation Station. Welcome back to your number one stop for anything and everything animation as well as TV and movies. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Yeah, we're talking John Wick. We're talking about one of the coolest and most badass action movies of the past decade. We were talking about the movie that literally no one had any idea what to expect walking into it, aside from the fact that it was Keanu Reeves and it was an action movie. That was literally all people knew up to that point. But imagine the surprise of the world when it turned out how amazing this movie actually is. Like, if I was reviewing movies professionally back in 2014, this probably would have been like my favorite movie of that year. It was either this or Battle of Gods. But oh my freaking goodness, John Wick. This is a movie I've watched so many times. This is a movie that I have loved since I first saw it. And each installment only kept getting better. Except for 3. 3 was a small step backwards, but it was still a great movie. So, yep, after going through some marathons where we had to end on pieces of crap, now we get to talk about one marathon that is genuinely nothing but greatness. So, without further ado or delay, let's dive into the first John Wick. Ballerina is finally on the horizon, so you know what time it is. It's time to revisit the franchise that took everyone by surprise when it began in 2014, and set a new high bar for action movies going forward, one that it kept escalating higher and higher with every installment. John Wick Chapter 1 is one of the most absolutely badass films of the past decade. Phenomenal acting, especially Keanu Reeves, and even Willem Dafoe, despite him being a side role. Incredible cinematography full of impressive one-takes and literally dripping with style in every single frame. Sure, it's not like the most flashy installment, because 2, 3, and 4 are all a lot flashier, but this one still has its fair amount of style. Fantastic revenge storytelling. Like, it starts out as something simple. You know, a guy has his dog killed and his house wrecked, so he goes on a revenge tour. But it's not until you get to the car lot with John Leguizamo that you realize that the person that they just messed with was the Baba Yaga, one of, if not the deadliest assassin known to the underworld. So, needless to say, it makes the villain shit their pants, so it just goes on from there. Outstanding world building of this assassin underworld, especially with the Continental being this very unique hotel that only has 2 rules. No business on the grounds, and all blood pacts have to be honored. Outside of that, you can literally do whatever the hell you want. Amazing action that is hyper bloody and beyond gruesome. Sure, this movie doesn't have like body parts flying at the screen or nothing, but so much of this movie is brutal. A lot of the choreography is varied. It is gun taka, as most people call it. You know, your Devil May Cries, your Deadpools, people that can use multiple different weapons, including their fists. And it just only gets better and better as the movie goes along. Like, the action in this movie is freaking amazing. Perfect pacing, it's perfect. It's a slow burn, but it's not to the point of being boring. Great characters. I mean, John has become one of the most iconic characters in cinema in the past 10 years. Superb runtime. It's a bit of a longer movie, but it's not like 3 hours or nothing. It's a very easy sit. Spectacular writing. It's adult. It's mature. It doesn't pull any punches, and it is very, very blunt. And insanely high rewatchability. Like I said, I have rewatched this movie so many times that I've literally lost count. Because it's that damn good. Sure, the villains are kind of meh. That's this movie's one and only problem. Vigo and his son, relative, whatever. They are kind of mediocre. Not a fan of them. But honestly, that's just nitpicking. This movie is so awesome, even 11 years later, and it only gets better with every single watch. Seriously, if you have not watched John-Wick yet, what the hell are you doing? You cannot call yourself an action movie fan until you watch John-Wick. All four of them. All four of them are great. So, with all that said, let's get down to the final verdict now, which is probably going to be one of the highest I've ever given to any first installment of any franchise. And that is going to be a super high, super well-deserved, and blood-soaked 9.5 out of 10. Literally, the villains being mediocre is the only thing that's keeping me from giving this movie a 10. But regardless, it's just as amazing now as it was in 2014. And the franchise only got better from there. How much better? Well, I'll tell you all about it next time when we dive into a sequel that somehow blew even its original out of the water. That being John-Wick Chapter 2. And buckle up, because this movie takes all the badassery of this first installment and cranks it up to 11. So, see you in the next review. Excited for what comes up ahead.